Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning. This is your host, Llorraine Neithardt, and you have reached Venus Unplugged. And what we do here is explore as many realms as possible and expressions of Venus, from the archetype to the personal, and from our wounding to our wisdom, hopefully, if we understand. Not by giving it meaning to make us feel better, but truly understanding from the inside out. Today, I'm going to look at and explore angels, archangels, because something which I'm sure you're feeling on some level is trying to break through on this earth. It's very powerful energy, and it really is for the greater good of humanity if we can perceive it that way. Energy is energy, and depending on what people do with it is all the difference in the world. And no matter what other people are doing, what you're doing with it is your world. And we can be in the middle of the world's chaos and still have a sense of ourselves, or a sense that love is viable and real, and that beauty is there, and that there is a divine order in all the chaos. So last week we spoke about Metatron, and I did say that I was going to give you the zodiacal rulership of the teaching angels, which I didn't do. So here it is. Aries, the angel is Samuel. Taurus, Aniel. Gemini, Raphael. Cancer, Gabriel. Leo, Michael. Virgo, Raphael. Libra, Aniel. Scorpio, Samuel. Sagittarius, Sachael. Capricorn, Cassiel. Aquarius, Uriel. And Pisces, Sachiel. Notice they all end with E-L. That means light. Metatron is one of the few Uber archangels that doesn't end in an E-L. So, what are these things? What is this force called the angelic world? And here's a quote. The soul at its highest is found like God, but an angel gives a closer idea of him. That is all an angel is, an idea of God. So that's by Meister Eckhart in his book on sermons. And the teaching angels, all right, we have our archangels, and then we have our personal guardian angels. So there's a whole angel etiquette that it's good to know. Now, the angels that the zodiacal signs and the teaching angels, those are your sun and moon angels. So let's say you're in Aries, so your sun angel would be Samuel, but your moon is in Capricorn, so the moon angel would be Cassiel. So those are the two forces that stand guard over your evolution. And use them. They're there. If we don't, it's like anything else, we need to ask. And there's a proper way of asking, which is not like, yo, man, help me out, which I'm sure they get that part. But, they are angels, and we want to have the ultimate grace and respect and prayer. And a prayer can be really anything as long as it's with the depth of our heart and being. Prayer needs to have emotion in it. It needs to have feeling in it. That's why so often prayers are answered at the last minute. It's because it's really that feeling is the thing that, gets our prayers to heaven. It's the energy that moves. So it's not some masochistic or sadistic system. It is really when that feeling comes, that real humbling, that real need for help, or the absolute pure joy, whatever it might be, or gratitude, whatever it might be, when that is true, not just words, the angels, they must appear because that's what they do. That's what they're about. So angels are the economy of the visible world. I consider them as real cause of motion, light, and life, and of those elementary principles of the physical universe which, in their development to our senses, suggest to us the notion of cause and effect and of what we call the laws of nature. That was by Cardinal Newman. So angels are used in all religions, in all, they're real, and we know it. So the archangels are messengers from the divine to mankind, and they offer spiritual substance and inspiration, and they provide us with revelation and the tools that we need for our spiritual development. They offer us the highest quality of assistance and heavenly love to be used in our daily lives. So we are given their light and strength to guide us back to the power within ourselves, through which we can become co-creators of the universe together with the source. They are the protectors of humankind and have a specific function which aids the collective and universal spirit of the human race. So their ability to penetrate the material substance, archangels transform earth energy and remind us of the limitations of our small minds. And they can show us the boundless reality of the divine. So those are the archangels, and we will be looking at the archangel Uriel. Now, the guardian angel, that's our personal angel. So while the archangels reign over the whole of mankind, the guardian angel attaches themselves to individuals. It is the guardian angel who watches over individual spiritual growth and throughout their lives and protect and defend their souls. Each angel may have a particular soul for many lifetimes, helping that individual to pierce together and piece together the lessons of each lifetime until it knows the true nature of God. And that knowing is called enlightenment. And the reason archangels would be considered like air psychopomps, invisible forces that know the nature and protect us, because the opening of the way, or the opening to the divinity, or as I see, the opening of the love. If we're not prepared or trained to accept this, it's burning force fields and lights, and very hard for us to contain or hold. We can hardly deal with the fact that we have shadow, and most of all, that we have gold. It's interesting. Shadow, very often, people are more willing to accept. But when it comes to the gold and the gifts and the power and the responsibility and the co-creation that we're all in on, known and unknown, that's what people can often have a hard time with. It'd be like the denial. Oh, no, somebody else has that. So I did an episode on taking your gold back. So if you look through the different episodes that I've done, you can find that and listen to that, because this is a good time to be taking your gold back. You project your gold onto another, and that's also one of the great aspects of falling in love. We project all of the gold to the beloved, and usually laden them with too great of a responsibility, because we can hardly handle what our gold is, let alone somebody else wearing it. And that's what happens so often in great disappointments. It's like, I thought you were. Well, what you thought they were actually an aspect of yourself, or something that you wanted or to attain, or was a secret gift or power or ability within yourself didn't really feel like working at getting. So it's like, great, I'll meet it in a stranger. Now, sometimes that stranger does fulfill that, or someone comes along and reminds us. But most of the time, the goal that we project onto the beloved, that could be our children, that could be our mentor, our teachers, our beloved, our partner, our world, our country, whatever it is that we're projecting, that it's attached to us. And there's a secret coding that demands that you become that. And it's cool to project it for a while, but once you realize, like, whoops, actually, what am I doing that for? My goal becomes a burden to someone else. So, like I said last week, when we're going to do something that is good, or at least we believe it is good, we're also creating shadows somewhere, somehow. So when that comes back to roost, we look at it and go like, so that's what an opposite turned into. And that too. We can't stop it. That is the nature of who we are. But we need to know and not be shocked and surprised. Like, or we do something that we believe is loving and kind and good, and the person doesn't receive it that way. Or they think they're doing something loving and kind and good, but it triggers a trauma. They didn't mean it. They didn't even know that was going on. But there it is. And that's what makes it so fascinating. Well, that we're capable, we as human beings, we as the nature of love, we have this quality. Now, I feel so from working with thousands of people at this time, we have a very hard time with Venus. The society tends to banish her or turn her into, a pure sexual object like pink porn, and that's not what she is. I mean, that can be the lesser version, which is fine, but that's not the nature of the principle of Venus and her son Eros. It is pure beauty, and it is truth in beauty. It's balance. So we are going to discuss the Archangel Uriel, Uriel. And Uriel, speaking of sun and gold and light, Uriel is the regent of the sun and is the most radiant of the archangels, that kind of blinding light. He is shown with a flame in his opened hand. He also rules over thunder and terror. It makes sense that it's Aquarius. That universal energy, that Uranian energy. And sometimes is seen with a book at his feet, signifying the book he gave to Adam with all the medicinal herbs in it. So if you need healing, certainly Uriel will guide you to the right herbs or the right healer. If you're into healing or studying healing and the herbs, certainly you can call on Uriel as a companion, an invisible teacher. We are allowed to do this. We're also allowed to call on a soul that is in spirit in the 8th house, is dead. We don't call on someone who's alive. Some great master, like Pythagoras, a great spiritual teacher, discovered the dodecahedron, had great schools of initiation, and let's say we're going through a great change. And initiation is usually a shock. It's all of a sudden we're being tested, so to speak. Are we going to remember what we say we believe in the middle of an emergency? Hopefully, yes. If not, try to get to it as quickly as you can, because that's what it's about. It's not testing to wound us, it's to remind us that we have authentic power, not to to be used as dominion over another, but to be used to understand and to grow and to love. It takes a lot of courage to love. And every day it has to be renewed, because some people are more perfect than others, and that's always a test. And if you can't love it, just try to disengage, unless you are forced, because on some level, you've been slotted to be that person's oracle for the day or for the moment. And sometimes that happens too. We think, how the heck did I get into this? Well, you got set up to have to remind somebody that this is life. We're in this together. Or remind somebody what we think love is. Or realize very often what people use as power, and they call it love. It's not that. Or we begin to realize, wait a second, this is a very distorted sense of loving or being loved. I can't do this. And the reason you can't do it is because it's offending your soul. The soul is very real. We can call it the psyche, we call it the unconscious, we call it certainly the collective unconscious is kind of the world soul. So there are many different words that describe this symbol, this essence of the soul. So on the angelic realm, the archangel of the heaven of form, and this is Uriel, and Uriel's heavenly function is to bring us the light of the knowledge of God. And gifts for the earth, he can help us to acknowledge the light within all people and find knowledge to help and to heal and to interpret and decode our inner voice. So even when we don't understand ourselves, we can call on this archangel as intermediary within ourselves. Please help me understand what does this mean to me, or what am I going through, or I know I can't project this because I need to understand what it means for me. So help me hold on to these wild horses of projection. We cannot stop projection. That it's a biological, physical, emotional, and spiritual force. Without projection, we'll never get an idea of who we are. So if we're projecting loving qualities to somebody, even if they don't necessarily deserve it, and your friends go like, well, man, wow, what's that about? That's what you see. So you're not wrong for seeing that. You see the person's potential. Now, if they're not living out their potential, and they're hurting you or harming you or offending the earth or animals or any of that, you can hold the memory of their potential, but you do not participate in their wounding because of love. Because the punishment, which is, payback in so many words, unfortunately, as human beings, sometimes that's the only way we remember. When we feel it, when you're trying to relate to another person who you care for, you want to be understood. But if they don't have a reference for it, unless they're extremely empathetic, which means they just feel they're capable of it, it's a heightened perception of being able to relate and walk in another person's shoes. It's also very painful to be empathetic because you feel it at such a deep and profound level. But if you know that you're empathetic and you call on Uriel to help you understand this empathy that you're feeling, wisdom will come out of it. So Uriel, whose name means light of God, is the angel who brings humanity knowledge and understanding of the divine. Radiant, and he's often depicted descending from heaven on a fiery chariot drawn by white horses. That's a beautiful image, right? And go on Pinterest. I love Pinterest. And find images. Really look at it. Really feel it. Implant it in your being. Be in and around and of it. Feel it within you, radiating out. Feel it around you, protecting you. Feeling that flame. The one who's helping you with your inner voice, which is the voice of the soul. That's how we know it's real. And Uriel is sometimes called the flame of God. He's the angel of the presence and the angel of salvation. Now, I say he because... hold on a second. Hello? Yeah, I'm doing tell her to go. Who's standing there? I'm doing my phone, my radio show. I can't talk. Bye. Okay, sorry. Somebody was at the door. Surprise person. Let's deal with it later. Okay, so back to Uriel. So he sent from God. God sent Noah, Uriel, to Noah to warn him of the deluge. And the Bible also tells us that Uriel descended into the Garden of Eden on a sunbeam and stood at its gate with a fiery sword. Great images, right? He also is the angel who watches over thunder and terror. That's a good one. You know, when thunder strikes, the first thing that you're thinking, that's what the thunder means for you. You know, we're always thinking something. And then thunder strikes. It's like, oh, that means that's going to change. Or when the wind blows by, you can put your prayers on the wind to take them where they need to go. Or healing. You know, we can use the elements to protect us and heal us. They're always there. And he's also the angel who watches over the thunder and the terror, and he's also the angel of repentance, and he can help us to understand the laws of karma, which simply put is reaping what we sow. It's not necessarily punishment. It's reflection. It's like, whoa, I didn't know that could result in that. And sometimes the karma is very positive. You do something just out of the kindness and sweetness of your heart, just because that's just what you do. You're not thinking about any return on it. And then when you really need something, there it is. So karma works both ways. It's not about punishment. It's to the exact degree. So instead of feeling punished, we can realize, like, wow, this is like a great adventure. This is like amazing. How did this come about? What is this about? It can become a great teaching. And the less that we resist these great mysteries, when we don't understand something, it just means we're limited. We don't have enough information to work with something, or we don't understand. Well, that's where misunderstandings come from. You know, we have a symbolic meaning, or it means something to us, or we associate it with something, and the other person doesn't, or the other group doesn't. And I think that's part of the great awakening that's happening, is really becoming aware. There is so much more than just our individual understanding. So this angel of repentance can help us understand. Uriel also helps us understand how divine mercy works and brings us awareness that we are cherished by God's love. And he's also can help us with, he's considered the sharp-sighted of all the angels. It doesn't miss a trick. Uriel does not miss a trick. He often represents the flame of knowledge in his open hand, which can bring mankind or draw onto mankind health and welfare, good tidings. If this knowledge is abused, then it's URIEL who delivers the divine retribution. So there it is. We earn it. URIEL helps us understand why all things are the way they are. He helps us trust in the divine plan so that when things appear to be going wrong, we can know that ultimately they are for the highest good and greatest joy. URIEL helps us interpret our inner voice and our dreams. So get a picture of that, and in the morning, or put it on your dream book if you write down your dreams, or embed that image in you so that URIEL will help you remember as you're writing down the dreams. And he guides us towards understanding our essential nature and towards, taking more responsibility for our lives. Responsibility can be experienced as work, but that's what we're here for. Play is work. And if we joyfully take on the responsibility, yeah, cool, I'll do that, fine. There's no resistance. You just get it done easier, right? But when we resist, oh, God, it's a drudgery. And the resistance isn't necessary. The energy, you need an extra hour in your life every day. Give up resistance. Then we'll spend time just resisting. Oh, God, I don't want to do this. Here it is. And, if we do that like 10 times a day for a couple of minutes, there's an hour. It's just taking in resistance. Like, I'm not going to resist this. I'm either going to say yes or no. Boom, end of story. And you get back that hour you kind of dribbled away in the resistance. So in interpreting our inner voice in our dreams and guides us, and responsibility means responding to, the capacity to respond to what is really happening and participate, or knowing it would be bad faith to participate in something that is not true for you. So you disengage. No, I can't vote for that. That doesn't work for me. So he gives us that possibility of fulfilling our potential as creative spirits. So if you've forgotten your potential or you don't know what it is, now sometimes URIEL will speak to other people and they'll say, you really have a gift for this. You have a real feel for this. It's wonderful. That's URIEL speaking through them. They're seeing it. Well, most people will deny it. It's like, oh, no, that's no big thing. No, that is a big thing. That's a gift. That's been given to you for you to take care of and to develop and to be part of. And your gift may be a beautiful smile at strangers. So with his guidance, we have the possibility of fulfilling our potential. And URIEL helps us find our inner light and to become as radiant as the sun when we express the fullness of love and beauty within ourselves. So that's what today's exploration is about. And there's many fabulous books and angel oracles and all sorts of angelic information. So apply it, bring it to your life, bring it in your life, pray for others, see their greatest good, and be an ambassador of the human potential, because there's plenty of it. It's exploding all over if we see it properly. So till next week, bye-bye.
Progressive brings you Flowetry with Flo.
When Flo flows, she flows in the know. Mind ruminates the rates. Shown them all, I heed the call. Seeing the rest, I choose the best. Sometimes it's ours, sometimes it's not. When the fox walks, is it called a fox trot? That's a real question.
Compare Progressive Direct rates with competitors' rates. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. This is very based on how you buy. This is very based on how you buy. This is very based on how you buy.